Hello and welcome back to my channel. I haven't done anything for the last couple of weeks. Life got in the way. Life will get in the way over the next few weeks as well. We have visitors, so I probably won't be able to do another video for a little while. If this is the first time you've come to the channel, welcome. I try to do a video probably every week or so, discussing topics from a midlife over whatever age I want to call it, 35, 40, etc., perspective. I originally started doing these to practice speaking in front of the camera because I had that feeling that the world was turning more into more of a video environment, so that you'd have to have this skill set. And I've been doing it for over a year. I kind of feel a lot more comfortable now. So yeah, if you haven't ever heard yourself or seen yourself on camera, I would so recommend trying this as an experiment. Simply use your phone. I still use my phone. I'm not going to be editing this. You see what you get, or you get what you see. And just turn the camera on yourself and record yourself, and then just put it onto YouTube and see who watches it. It is kind of quite daunting at times to think that someone might actually see you speak about nonsense, and ah all the way through. It is what it is, you know. This is, again, practicing in public for yourself, which is one reason why everyone should have some sort of YouTube online YouTube channel. I may never monetize on this channel, but that's okay. What I have got out of it is plenty of practice and plenty of memories. And I say memories in terms of using this as a journal for my own purposes. I can look back at videos from a year ago and think, oh, was that what I was thinking? So there you go. So that's my preamble before my topic for today. Now, I didn't really have any topic until I went to lunch with a colleague of mine yesterday, and we were talking about stuff, life, you know, how the world of work is changing. And it kind of does get me back to this important element of the need for all of us to keep upgrading our skills, to keep being aware of the environment. He mentioned, and I didn't, AI, because I often think about AI a lot, but I didn't want to impose that thought process. But I think he came to the same kind of conclusion that, you know, us in the workforce, who've been in the workforce for a while, have to realize that, you know, on our shoulders, just going through the education system as we speak, are going to be people who are AI native, so who've always learnt about AI, or certainly learnt about AI at an earlier stage in their careers. That means that they are not just competition for us, but actually they are going to displace us. They'll be cheaper, smarter, far more AI savvy than the rest of us. So we've all got to find a way to create a niche. At the end of the day, we can't necessarily go head to head with some of these kids. I mean, I say kids, I mean, they're in their 20s, 30s even, maybe some of them. But we can't necessarily go head to head because a lot of the time we'll lose. We're not going to be as good as they are. We've got to accept that. We're not going to be as cheap as they are. We've got to accept that. So where can we add some value? And a lot of that is based on what we already have right now, which is some degree of experience. We have built up years and years of grey hair, skills, and we've got to be able to apply that in some capacity. We also have some form of network. So I just had to turn off an alarm I had on my phone. Again, I don't do any editing, which is why you saw my finger go through it like that. Anyway, we also have a network we've built up. So we have that to kind of work with in order to get opportunities to learn new things. We also have, again, you know, it's history. And when I say history, we have seen cycles before. I look at the stock market now and see people so excited about, you know, the Magnificent Seven, Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, blah, 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 and go, cool, yeah, AI is real, AI makes sense. And we know the same thing. We've seen this before with the dot-com environment when we were talking about internet companies. Now every company is an internet company. Every big company has, even medium-sized, small-sized company has a website, or does, takes orders online, so on and so forth. Back then, people were getting so excited about, what was it, Cisco and Nortel and WorldCom and all these companies that were internet companies or internet-related companies. The reality is, we know the technology will make sense. The issue is who are going to be the winners. And I say that in the context of, we have this kind of experience of life that we should be able to apply in our own lives in terms of our careers. We know that AI will have an important bearing. We just don't know how it's going to manifest. You know, when the internet boom kicked off, no one talked, as far as I know, about social media. No one talked about the smartphone. No one talked about streaming or the likes of Shazam and music. You know, all these things that came out of what the internet provided. And we've got to think the same thing about AI. So we've got to make sure that we continue to evolve in the environment around us and not stick in our heads and deny that AI is a thing. The reality is, the job you're doing now, in 5-10 years' time, is likely to be very different. Even if you do have some form of manual work, even if it's a manual labour job, there will be some influence of from AI. So it's vital that you at least have some form of understanding, some form of embracing of the spirit of AI. And I think that's something that we all have to kind of acknowledge. You know, I speak to some people who've never actually played with DeepSeek or Copilot or ChatGPT, and that's fine. You know, at the end of the day, you have these cycles of embracing of technology. You know, you have the early adopters, you have we move along to mass adoption and so on. So there's that grey area between those who are, you know, fully upfront, fully cutting edge, and those at the end who are your mothers and your grandparents who eventually adopt it. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, the sooner you start to look into the technology, the more well positioned you will be. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe I've said this on the channel already, I don't know, I asked DeepSeek to provide for me a curriculum that I could use to learn about AI. And so it just kind of created a curriculum, YouTube channels, a Coursera course, and a few things. And I've been working through, maybe not as methodically as I could be, maybe I need to kind of revisit the structure and have it more targeted, but I am directionally looking to learn. And I think we all need to look to learn in a way that is, at least embraces what is right in front of us, namely change driven by AI. And we know that we don't have a proper sense of how it's going to look in X years' time, but we do know that the direction of travel. And knowing the direction of travel means you have to kind of embrace it. And I've been telling this to friends who have been, you know, losing their jobs in their 40s and 50s. They've just got to think about, you know, if you want to get back into the job market, you can't be just looking at the CV that you had from 5 years ago and just laying it out there, because companies are thinking, yes, but how is this relevant to the future? The future will have an element of AI. So if your technology skills in your CV resume says, you know, Microsoft Word and Excel or Python even, or yeah, that's almost expected. Some of these things, maybe not Python for most people, but what will be expected going forward is things like prompt engineer and skilled across different AI platforms, DeepSeek, Copilot, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and so on. So I'm just giving an example. So think about where the direction of travel is with the world of work, with society, and just experiment. This is the time to experiment. This is the time you could actually carve a niche before everybody else gets on board. And I know we've kind of had these moments before where people get really excited about the metaverse and NFTs and different dynamics around crypto. All of those have an element of value, which will still, I think, come to fruition sometime in the future. But AI feels different. It feels different because of the scale of the money being thrown into it and the fact that people can actually apply it to their real lives already. And you can, as an individual, build your own AI platform that will allow you to monetize. So you could use it for freelancing, you could use it as a consultant, so on and so forth. So those are just some thoughts. As I said, we've all got to keep on thinking. We've all got to be aware of how the world is evolving, and it's time to take control. Okay, well, that's it for me today, and I might not do a video for another 2 or 3 weeks. As I said, visitors, they will be in this room, so I can't do it in this room, and I don't like to do this with my family around. So until next time, bye-bye. Oh, and before I go, like and subscribe. Again, always worth keeping on top of these things and follow my journey as I evolve into an AI expert, maybe not, but certainly in terms of career coaching, which is one of my skill sets, and of course finance, which is the other part of my skill set. Okay, bye for now.